Hey everybody, it's your buddy Beard Grizzly, and today, thank you for joining me as I just sit here and ramble and gush about what it is that Forsaken is all about, because frankly, that's what I'm going to do. This isn't going to be a full, in-depth idea or a full review just yet, but consider it a taste, consider it an idea of what it is that I love about this expansion and what they've done with the game overall, because I want to wait to really get a review out there until I get my hands on the raid and really see exactly what else opens up once next week comes around. And realistically, as it is, the first month we're going to actually see a lot of content kind of open up and drizzle out to us. It's going to be a very long while before we finally get everything that Forsaken has to offer us. That's not even talking about the other season stuff that's coming this month. Anyway, let's just move on. Before I forget to mention it, I did just want to give you guys a little bit of thanks for your input over on the community post that I had made just yesterday. I know it's about a topic that I kind of bring up often, and I know some of you have kind of thought that I'm just asking for attention at this point, but I struggle with this thought of what my content looks like and how it is a lot of the time, and I'm having a hard time getting over that. I don't really know if it's that last hurdle that I really need to overcome or what it might be, but like this is it. This is me trying to bridge that hurdle and me trying to get out to you guys a little bit more often, because I want to see the channel grow. And for me personally, I know that one of those things is going to be making content a little bit more consistently, because that's how YouTube likes to function, and that's what I kind of have to do. So for the algorithm itself, this is what I'm going to do. But additionally, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to make sure that these are topics that I want to talk about and they're things that I'm passionate about. And obviously, I'm a little bit on the passionate side about Forsaken. So anyway, now that I got that out of the way, I just wanted to thank you guys again for the community input feedback that you gave me over on the community discussion board. And if you haven't yet, you can read my full post on what's going on there and a couple other things about what this channel has actually done for me over the past almost couple years now. So thank you guys again. Let's move into my thoughts, though, on Forsaken. Again, not a review, just initial impressions. What I've had problems with Destiny, of course, has been being able to log in and play for extended periods of time. Now, I know for many, this is something that, you don't really have a ton of time to end up putting into the game, and I still don't necessarily have a ton of time that I can put into the game, but what is comforting to know is the time that I do get to log in and I do get to poke around, I'm not just doing it for lore reasons or for gathering some footage that I might need for background for a video. No, at this point, what I am doing is logging in and enjoying myself. I am genuinely logging into the game and finding myself just getting distracted by everything that's going on. And that is something that I can't say about some other titles that I played over the course of the last several months. For instance, Monster Hunter World, as much as I really did enjoy it and really still do enjoy it, I find myself lacking in wanting to actually get into the game and start to play it. And that's something that I didn't expect to have happen for a little while now. But for some reason, it really picked up on me, and I don't know. I would love to get back into Monster Hunter World a little bit more, but for some reason, I don't have the draw to it. And that's been something that I've been wanting from a game for a little while again. And Forsaken, at least for the time being, I don't know how long it'll end up holding, at least for the time being, has drawn me in, and every time that I log in, I feel like I want to do something. I find myself playing Gambit almost all the time. I think at this point I'm rank 6 at the moment, and that's saying something for me for the limited amount of time that I've been able to put into it so far. Or I find myself in the Dreaming City, and I find myself poking around for lore and going through these different little nooks and crannies that are just all over the place. It has rekindled so much of my want to explore in a game world like Destiny, and that is something that I have not had in a long time. That is something that has been devoid from me for ages at this point while playing games, and it's something that I'm so happy to have back within my life, and especially within my gaming life, because, well, gaming is obviously a very big part of my life, and has been for several years at this point, over 20 years at this point. It's just having something to connect with and know that I can log in, do a few things with, and then put it down and still feel satisfied. I haven't gotten that in a long time. A good portion of my initial hunt actually came from wanting to get my old look back from Destiny 1, and Bungie actually facilitated that. The prodigal gear that you can find around basically any legendary engram that drops now and again, especially for warlocks, looks very familiar. This is actually the initial set that you could have gotten from year 1 for the Vanguard, and it was later repurposed for a future war cult. So for me, this set holds a lot of memories, and to actually see my character running around with it now is just fantastic. It feels like Destiny again for me, and that last little bit really pushed it over the edge for me. And of course, all the push and draw to continue to find new things hidden within the triumphs and the collections tabs that we now have within the game, they're just welcome and wonderful additions that I was not expecting to be as good as they are. Just the fact that I can go in and rebuy shaders whenever I want to with necessary currency and so on. The fact that I can go in and look through all the armor that I've ever collected and re-grab some of it, it's just awesome. I am so very, very excited to see where everything kind of goes forward from here, with a couple of tweaks that I think could be there, but I'll save that for the full review because it gets a little bit more detailed. All the same, the triumphs and collections are just wonderful in and of themselves and have great depth behind them that I'm going to be here for so long, and I really want to fill up the book and get the Chronicler title, but it's just, I'm trying to figure out what time I'm going to have to do it. DestinyGhostHunter.com, don't let me down. But let's talk about the thing that really matters for us here on this channel, and that of course is the story. What did I think of the story? How did I think it went? Is there anything that really kind of tipped me off or just made me not really care, and does it matter with Destiny anymore? The real brief answer with that is yes. Yes, it does matter. It matters in a big way, and that is the one piece about Forsaken that hits you with a bang right out the gate. And it is the one thing that I can definitely say, if the newer ways that you acquire gear, the triumphs and collections aren't enough for you, the way that most of the lore is now handled, which I'll get to in a moment, just everything that story was, and the characters that were either reinvented, reintroduced, or changed to really fit the purpose of what Destiny's Forsaken expansion is all about, then I frankly don't know what it is that you're looking at, or how it is that you're really even human. You could be contrarian, and I understand the ideas that, hey, you can not like a thing, and I'm right there with you. I mean, for Christ's sake, I haven't really liked Destiny 2 for the good majority of things up until Forsaken. And the fact that they still did leave a lot of things open for the end. It's not as cut and dry as I know some people are making it out to believe and seem, and I really cannot wait to really dig into a lot of that. That ending especially, that ending is something we really got to talk about. From the moment that the story really starts up, from the absolute get-go with the prison of elders and so on, everything just feels different. It feels like the story is being approached at a different angle, and it almost feels like it's the end of what Destiny 2 was and the beginning of what Destiny 2 or the Destiny franchise is hopefully going to be more like. And as much as, of course, it is sad to see the death of Cayde happen and what actually goes into that entire scene, it does feel like it's a little analogous to how everything is going to proceed with the franchise or otherwise. It feels like it's the death of an age and the beginning of a new one. But of course, there is story, and then there is the lore. And how is the lore within Forsaken? Well, we now, at official tally, I think not counting some of the raid gear that's out there, are over 200 full records that I have to refer to and look over. A good majority of items that are out there also have some very interesting flavor text, and there are actually a lot of legendaries that have lore tabs besides, so keep your eyes open for those. I know a good majority of the stuff in Gambit, and especially some of the stuff that you can pick up, of course, from the Dreaming City, because they're linked with the raid a little bit more. Just all of the tiebacks in general, with Spider, with the Reef, with every single character that they have showcased for us. It feels like everybody's getting their time to shine again. And that's something that I feel like they've needed to do with this quote-unquote issue 1 as we were sold on Destiny 2 previously. Forsaken, with the little bits and pieces that I've been able to actually read of the lore so far, get there in a second too, that is what it feels like is being introduced to us. All of these characters are finally being given a voice. And that's the thing that I'm most happy about when it comes down to the lore. So, how much of the lore have I actually read of those over 200 entries? Well, some of you have been sending me bits and pieces over Twitter or on Discord. My spoilers chat just doesn't want to shut up about everything. But overall, there are a lot of things that I have not had a chance to really poke into yet. And when I say a lot of, I mean probably about 200 entries. I'm at this point just blown away by the fact that I still have wanted to sit down and read everything, but when I log into Destiny or when I say, oh yeah, I just have like these couple things I gotta do real quick just for today, I find myself just in there for hours on end, and I'm like, where did the time go? So if nothing else, there's your warning. If you decide to go ahead and log into the game, it's going to be one of those things. You just will not feel like stopping, and you will just want to keep playing if you're anything like me whatsoever. The grind is worth it. You get legendary gear from most of the bounties. Bounties are pretty easy to complete, and realistically, when all is said and done, it's just more stuff for you to do. Every single world vendor has something. You've got to remember to pick up stuff from like Shaxx and Zavala and the Drifter if you go out there. You've got Hawthorne that has a bunch of different bounties as well, either per day or per week. It rotates. It's a constant rotating cycle of just pick up and go. And where I was initially just here for the lore, I'm really in it for the gameplay now as well. And I think that is something to say as testament for Forsaken, especially with how everything is going to start to move. Really, that should say something to you, because I'm sitting here talking about lore and all of a sudden I get detracted and pushed off to talk about gameplay again. That's how my mind's working at this point. It's insane that this game has really rekindled my want to play. And that is really the biggest thing that I really want to almost end on at this point, is the fact that I just want to get back in and start to play it again. The fact that I want to keep poking at what else it has to offer, find extra little nooks and crannies within the Dreaming City, and maybe be the first to find something else that's going on. But you guys have done such a bang-up job of ripping up most of what we found so far. And all the information you guys have been sending me on Twitter and Discord, I cannot thank you guys enough for keeping me in the loop as much as you are. Between the graphics update that we got with lighting and shaders, with the different looks that we now have, some returning, some being new within Forsaken, with random rolls being a thing, and the fact that even if I'm set on a look for my characters, I still have to get the right rolls for the equipment that I want to have. The soundtrack, the way that everything is put together with bounties and collectibles, everything feels like it's a cohesive build, and it actually makes sense. Anyway, I'll have better thoughts put together as soon as I'm able to, and as soon as I'm able to experience every part of Forsaken, but for now, I just wanted to get the content ball rolling again, you know? Feels good to just make a video and sit here and talk with you guys for a little bit. Tonight, my plans. I'm going to start reading up on stuff, because between the Awoken and a few other parts that I really want to dig into, there's so many elements of Forsaken that I really want to dig into. Like, Gambit just feels really interesting because it's a newer part, of course, for the game itself as a game mode, but also for the lore behind it. There's all these little dark pieces that exist within it, and I want to know how it's okay for us to be doing it, if anybody in the Vanguard even knows that we're doing it. Then again, I mean, the Drifter's right in the city, and he's right across from Ikora. I can't imagine that they don't know. I can't imagine that. There's also the ending, and we need to talk about who did the pulling of the trigger. We need to also look into several items that exist within the Dreaming City, and of course finally get some answers behind the Awoken. Plus there's a few extra stories that exist that I need to talk about, and I know one person in particular is going to tell me more Shaxx, and the next time she does, I'm probably going to flip out. Just kidding, but she knows who she is. Anyway, my next topic I really do want to do is exploring the ending, because I feel like there's multiple layers that need to be talked about when looking into the end. Again, between that trigger pull and, well, having a M. Night Shyamalan big old twist happen besides is another big idea, and of course also having some Lovecraft besides is also another big idea. too many things to discuss in a non-constructive or non-organized fashion. So keep your eyes open for that stuff, as I'll be doing that as soon as I'm able to. But tonight, again, I'm going to sit down with my tablet, I'm going to start writing my notes out, I'm going to start really digging into what this lore has to offer for us, because the bits and pieces that I've seen and read so far, I am totally interested and invested already. I only needed a few things to do it, but I am totally interested and invested within what Forsaken has to offer, and I can see a lot of it if this keeps going for time to come. This is hopefully Bungie's wake-up call. This is what they need to see, that, yeah, this is the kind of work we want to see done. This is the kind of stuff we want to see. No, don't change it again. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just this. Improve this. Leave this as your springboard point. This is what you need to improve and replay. Do it. Anyway, before I do sit here and keep rambling on and on about how much I just enjoy Forsaken and how much I want to see Bungie understand that this is what I want to see more of, I'm going to leave it there. So to Guardians and non-Guardians alike, thank you so much for listening to me today, and I'll see you next space time. Take care.